Keir, I want to start this episode with a question. When we started this enterprise being the Filmographers podcast, the show where we study a director's entire career, one movie at a time, when we started all this, did you ever think that we would see a season two?
Well, I knew we'd make it through season one because we're both conscientious, hardworking, and borderline obsessive. But I had no idea whether we'd come back for a season two. I wasn't sure how much I would like doing the show, or more importantly, whether listeners would like listening to it. But I found it to be such a fascinating and rewarding thing to do. Not only did I learn a lot about Steven Soderbergh, but I also feel I've learned a lot about storytelling. I've been inspired to try new things in my own work, to take more risks, and quite honestly, to try even harder. How about you? Did you see us kicking off season two?
To be honest, I really did, and I want to be clear about this point. I didn't think that we'd see a season two because like we'd be such a massive success. Like, I don't even know, at that time that we started, I didn't know what a success in the world of podcasting looked like. And I don't even know that I still know it. The numbers are very hard to make sense of. But despite that, what I knew then and what I know even more now is how much I love making the show and how I couldn't imagine stopping, just one season, one director. I just couldn't imagine us doing just the one. We learned so much over the course of season one. And like you said, to echo you, not just about Steven Soderbergh, but I feel like I deepened my knowledge of movie history, of how movies are made, and just what it's like to live a life in cinema.
For sure. And it certainly hasn't been easy to make this podcast, despite how rewarding it's been. It's been like taking on a second job, at least a half-time job. And it has sometimes been a challenge to find time to watch the movies, to research and write scripts, and even record episodes. But, it has unquestionably enriched my life. And I know I speak for both of us when I say, dear listeners, that Mike and I hope it has enriched your lives too. It's honestly kind of moving to feel like we're all on this journey together.
Not a dry eye in the room, Kier. Well said. Good job.
Hey, you're from the Midwest, and I believe I've earned honorary Midwestern citizenship too. And earnestness is what we do here, even in Chicago. And I earnestly want to discuss something with you, Mike, that I think will lead us right into the announcement everyone's been waiting for. When it came to choosing the director for season two, we went back and forth a lot. We both proposed several candidates, all of them deserving in their own way, but we could only choose one. Tell people a little bit about the criteria we used in making our decision.
We're looking for some really specific qualities for our season two subject, even if we weren't, completely aware of those qualities when, you and I started batting names around. Now, the first criterion, and I remember us deciding this early on, was that we didn't want to study another contemporary director. Part of the fun of studying Soderbergh's career was exploring, the 90s and early aught cinema. And while we certainly didn't cover, the entirety of that era, we really, there's a lot there, but we really did cover, enough of the rise of independent filmmaking through the lens of a single director to put that to bed for a moment. So neither one of us really wanted to return to the same time frame quite so soon.
Right. And we also wanted to find someone with a manageable filmography. We covered 36 Soderbergh films, and that was a lot. We briefly considered doing a Howard Hawks season, but that would have given us nearly 50 films to cover, and I just don't think we've got it in us yet anyway. We mentioned Michael Curtiz many times during season one as a director we admire and even compared Soderbergh to, but his filmography, if you count his Hungarian films, is over 100 movies long.
And I'll be damned if we do not cover Curtiz's Hungarian films, Kier.
That's an important stand, but not to worry, because we didn't choose Curtiz, nor did we choose Kathryn Bigelow, a director we both love and was very close to being the subject of season two. Only she hasn't really directed enough movies. Her filmography barely cracks double digits, which came as a surprise to me. I mean, I always think of her as having made more.
That's probably because of how often you watch Point Break, I would say.
I told you, Moreci, no one stands between me and my love of Special Agent Johnny Utah.
You're trying to tell me the FBI is going to pay me to learn to surf?
It's either you or me out there on the board. You get my drift?
Angelo, this is for little rubber people who don't shave yet.
Come on.
Okay, so no contemporary directors, no directors who directed too many movies, or none that made too few movies. Speaking of too few movies, I don't know if you remember, Keir, you probably do because I know you're a big fan of his work. Hal Ashby was a name we kicked around a bit, but again, just not a big enough body of work. Though, no one, if you're looking at small sample sizes, Keir, no one could beat Charles Laughton, who directed one movie and only one movie, and that movie was the great one, The Night of the Hunter.
I mean, it would be an easy season, but yeah. But yeah, if you make the perfect movie the first time out, how do you follow it up?
I mean, I don't think you do. You stop.
I know I was really attached to the idea of a 1970s director, partly because that's my favorite film era, but partly because I thought it would be cool to cover a predecessor of Soderbergh, someone who would kind of take us through the 70s, maybe the 80s, up to the 90s. We talked about William Friedkin and Brian De Palma, who between them directed some of our favorite films, but they're also sometimes uneven. And if I recall correctly, neither of us were quite sure if our enthusiasm for them would, sustain us through the low points. Mike, are there any other criteria worth mentioning?
There is one more. No filmmaker whose work has already been covered to death already. If a director already has, a bazillion YouTube videos dissecting their work, that director hit the cutting room floor. David Fincher, Michael Mann, I'm sorry. You are both out. For this reason, you are out.
Kubrick, my man, I love you, but you need not apply.
But it's so tempting because I really love the idea of us having an excuse to go and gobble up the Kubrick 4K releases that have been put out lately. There's the Eyes Wide Shut coming soon. I think Barry Lyndon on 4K. Yes, please.
Sir Richard, this pistol must be faulty. I must have another one.
I'm sorry, Lord Bullingdon, but you must first stand your ground and allow Mr. Lyndon his turn to fire.
That is correct, Lord Bullingdon. Your pistol has fired, and that counts as your shot.
Yeah, my family does not share my enthusiasm for Barry Lyndon, but at least now they can say they've seen it. Now that we've laid out all the terms we used for selecting our season 2 director, there's nothing left to do but announce who the director is.
He is the director and writer of movies like Fedora, The Emperor Waltz, and Buddy Buddy. And if you know those movies, then you must be really excited about our choice.
He's also written and directed a few other films like The Apartment, Five Graves to Cairo, and Sabrina.
He is the one, he is the only Billy Wilder.
Mr. Billy Wilder.
Many years ago, I worked on the Goldman lot, and I was taking a little walk between the stages, and I heard my name, and I turned around, and there was Sam Goldwyn standing in the window. And he says, "Wilder, what's the matter with you? You look depressed." And I said, "I am depressed, Mr. Goldwyn, because my last picture, down the tubes." And he says, "Wilder, when are you going to learn? In life, you have to take the bitter with the sour."
Mike, tell me, why did we choose Mr. Wilder for season 2 of the Filmographers podcast?
I will tell you, but first, a word about our Patreon. I'll be brief because now that we've let the cat out of the bag, I know that I want to talk about the season ahead. I know people want to hear about the season ahead, so I'll be quick. Our Patreon is going to play an integral role in season 2. We're going to release at least one episode every single month, exclusive to Patreon, and it's going to deepen our journey into Wilder's life and career by exploring things that we won't cover in the main show.
Things like the movies he wrote before he became a director, Ball of Fire, Ninotchka, and Hold Back the Dawn. We'll even explore his contentious relationship with Mitchell Leisen, director of Hold Back the Dawn.
In some episodes, we'll discuss movies Wilder inspired and the impact he still has on cinema to this day.
You're not going to want to miss a thing, so join us at patreon.com/thefilmographerspodcast. That's patreon.com/thefilmographerspodcast. Okay, Mike, as you were saying, why did we choose Billy Wilder for season 2?
Well, it's funny because for all the back and forthing we did when we were discussing who was the best choice for our sophomore season, when we got to Billy Wilder, it just felt like a no-brainer. He just clicked. For starters, it's funny to say for starters, but for starters, the man made hit after hit after hit. We've already mentioned some all-time classic, but we've barely even scratched the surface.
What about Some Like It Hot?
What about Sunset Boulevard? If Wilder were a baseball player, his batting average would have put him in the Hall of Fame before he even retired.
And not only that, but he is a fascinating guy. I don't want to give too much away, but if there's one thing that may outshine Wilder's career, it's Wilder himself. From working as a gigolo in Berlin in his early 20s to becoming an acclaimed silent film screenwriter to his legendarily fraught relationship with Marilyn Monroe, Billy Wilder was a lot of things to many people, but there's one thing he never ever was, and that's boring. The man hardly had a dull moment, and if he did, he made up a story that made it sound hilarious.
He did. He is a great writer. He is a great director. He worked with some of Hollywood's biggest stars and made some of the biggest movies. And it's time for his career, his life to be examined, and one movie at a time, which is exactly what we do here on the Filmographers podcast.
Join us on September 16th as we embark on our journey through Wilder's life and career. We'll make brief stops in Europe during the silent film era before beginning in earnest during Hollywood's golden age. We'll travel all the way to 1981, the year of Wilder's final film. It's going to be an incredible ride, and we're glad you're taking it with us.
Thanks, as always, to Kevin Lau, our producer, Gompson, who composed and played our theme music, and Cosmo Graff, who designed our logo and our merch.
Thank you also to our newest Patreon member, Stephen. We appreciate you.
If you have any questions, thoughts, anecdotes that you want to share about Wilder, or you just want to share enthusiasm for his work, you can always reach us at thefilmographerspodcast@gmail.com.
You know what else you can email to thefilmographerspodcast@gmail.com? A screenshot of your review of our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Do it before September 15th, and you'll be eligible to become one of 3 random reviewers who will receive either a t-shirt, a mug, or a sticker. Reviews and positive word of mouth help grow our audience more than anything else, and we'd love to get our new season off to the best and biggest start possible.
We'll be back in just 1 week for the first episode of season 2, Billy Wilder, Mythmaker.